Hello, just doing a quick video here on my 2001 TT Quattro 225 horsepower uh, PITA or no Audi transmission removal. So I have photos at the end of the video as well, but basically the transmission's out. Just going to go over a few steps that I found to be difficult with this transmission, and there are many. There's a great write-up. I'll put it at the link to it at in the comment, or sorry, in the information below. And there's another video too where they pull a two-wheel drive TT transmission. Is excellent too, but the four-wheel drive or Quattro has some extra problems, and they're seriously, difficult. Totally different than a two-wheel drive. So for starters, you pull the guards off. Here's the guards. It's a massive pile of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 alone, just plastic guards. And then your air cleaner box. It's fairly standard to get off. Little pieces to get off. And your battery box. Pull that out too. So I pulled battery, air cleaner, started at the guarding, and another guard I took off was the half of the wheel well guard. That'll have to come off and just roll it back behind. So they can get in there and access, through here you can access your starter bolts, some bell housing bolts, some of these lines. This line, for instance, is your power steering line. This curved section is right in front of the transmission fill plug. And it goes all the way to the front. There's a little banjo bolt. So I took the banjo bolt out of the power steering pump. I thought I'd save some oil, but it all drained out anyway, so I lost all the oil. So I'll have to put new oil in there. And there's another cooler line. It's this crazy line here that I take off. It basically just loops up to the front below the radiator. And so you can pull that back and flick it underneath to get it out of the way. So you have a clear section here to get your transmission out. And you can see through here is one of the big problems. There's the Quattro drive, the rear drive shaft. You can't get those bolts out of the rear drive shaft. And also once the car is disabled, the rear drive shaft does not turn. So if you're going to do your rear drive shaft ever, make sure your car is enabled. You can drive it forward or backward. And so here's the Quattro drive. That shaft is seriously long. I'll take a photo from above. And that has to, transmission has to clear that shaft. You can see there's the flywheel and the crankshaft, and the flywheel sits on that. So that's only in there about an inch, inch and a half. That shaft is about 2.5, 3 inches. So that has to, so the transmission has to come to the driver's side about 3 inches to clear, and then it hits your subframe at about 1.5 inches out. So in the end, I had to drop my subframe down and slide it back. I don't know if you see it there, but the subframe is slipped back about an inch or so backwards. I did it very carefully because your steering, rack and pinion steering, and other components are all hanging on that subframe as well. I left the struts hanging at the top, and then unbolted the 3 bolts at the bottom. I marked them with a punch so I have a chance of getting the alignment back kind of sort of straight. So the struts and brakes are all kind of hanging on their own. And then the subframe's free to move out of the way to let the transmission out. I see online some guys have done it without moving the subframe, and the two-wheel drive, that's totally possible, no problem at all. But four-wheel drive, I have no idea how they could get it out, because once you have the transmission unbolted, it comes forward. You can't pull it up or rotate it up because of the Quattro drive, and down is no dice either. It hits the subframe, and the Quattro drive hangs it up there as well. So fine. Another problem was this, all the sensor clips. I don't know why they don't use Deutz or a good brand, but I suppose it's an Audi brand. And anyway, that speed sensor there in the back of the transmission, you can only see it pretty much once you have everything removed. You can actually see the sensor, and then it's hard to unclip, so I just unbolted it and pulled it out of the case when I came out. That's where the bottom kind of stabilizer mount goes, the torsion mount, so the engine doesn't roll forward when you drive away. And what else was a problem up above here? I pulled my starter up to the top, just let it sit in the top, just let that connected. That starter cable harness thing is a bit of a pain too, this thing here. Even though it's just plastic, it kind of gets in the way, but just roll that out of the way. And I undid the mounts on this side, so the bolt's missing. So that way when the engine leans forward, the mount just rocks forward instead of holding steady and the rubber ripping as the engine rocks forward. So that was awesome. And then I use a strap to put tension on this Quattro drive. For some reason, this side of the drive flange doesn't come out, your CV drive. I thought it would just slip right out of the Quattro drive and then have lots of room. I had to take the driver's side CV flange off because you need every millimeter of clearance you can get, so I pulled that off. Both drive shafts definitely have to come out. Two-wheel drive might be able to get it out with one drive shaft out, just the driver's side, but two-wheel drive definitely, or sorry, Quattro, you want them both out. And you can see in the back here, it just hits the turbo exhaust pipe after the turbo. So it's pinched in there, and it's pinched in on your subframe as well. See down there, it's still rubbing on it. And this one's dropped as well, like a lot. You can see how far down the subframe is. It mounts from here up to here. And that's just to sneak it out there. So at this point, I'm just going to pull the whole subframe right out of the car and hang the Quattro drive here just off straps and stuff, just with the rear drive shaft hanging in the air, and then put the transmission in on the transmission jack. Just get it sitting nice and level, and then slip it in. Oh yeah, and while you're above there, after your air box and battery box, you pull off the shift levers. On the TT, at least, when you pull this clip out, there's not enough room for this rod to even slide out. So I ended up prying off the shift cable, and thankfully it didn't break. And then this part here is your second part of your shifter, and it's marked with a dot, and there's another dot on the actual piece that splines on, but make sure the dots are there before you take it off, or else I have to do a lot of trial and error to get your shifter working okay. Okay, I'll do another video on why I pulled this thing out. It's making a horrendous noise, and it's got something to do with the dual mass flywheel. Fucking hunk of shit. Okay, so I'll leave the comments open below and put those links in. I'm just making this video because I know it's a total pain in the ass to do this transmission. I would suggest it if you can get it done by someone else, have a professional do it. And of course, I can't be responsible for what you do with your transmission, so you're on your own. It's heavy, it could hit you, and it can be a dangerous job too, I guess. I've probably pulled about 10 to 15 automotive transmission and 40 to 50 heavy duty transmissions, and this is number one for pain in the ass. Okay, have a great day. Oh, hang on, one more thing. The secret bolt in the Quattro drive, I use this, just 1/4" ratchet with a 1/4" drive, and cut 6mm extra long Allen key. I just cut the top off, and then this is the bolt, and that got it out. That was extremely tight. I have no idea why it was so tight. And tighter yet were the two bolts on top of the Quattro drive transfer case box. For that, I use this 8mm Allen key, extra long with the 8mm 3/8 socket, and an extra long adapter after that, and came in through the side here. No, hang on, over here. Because for some reason Audi didn't put any dimples or save some aluminum for them, and putting any kind of spots for an extension or any tooling to get in there and get those bolts. So it must have been a bitch at the factory too. Even the bottom bolts, these Allen head bolts, I wouldn't use those. I would use a external Torx bolt or something like that. And they must have just had a painful time at the factory to put them in as well. So I just did that, and then I bought these extra long Allen keys and cut them out with a chop saw. Just cut the tops off, just, you know, like that, the 90-degree section, and then ground them so that they work. And they're extra long, because this one's, you know, referred to as a hex key long, but that's too short. I had to get an extra long one, and luckily I found these ones at the store, so I had to cut the 6 and 8 millimeter up to kind of fabricate tooling to work. And there's the triple square screws. You gotta love those babies. So I've never had those before. I went on and bought a set. I got the short set, which I use for the CV joints, but turns out I should have bought the long set, because they're better for the CV joints. They get around the CV boot, so you don't hurt the boot when you're undoing them. And the boots are 10, and the clutch dual mass flywheel are 12, so you need 2 of them anyway. So I just got a 4-piece set, and it's like $12 or whatever. Okay, so if you don't have 3 or 4 days, don't do your TT transmission. I don't give a shit who says it's easy. It is not. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.